All right, so today we're going to do binomial expressions. So the idea here is if the term behind it is the exact same, then all you need to do is add the coefficients, right? So right here, see it's a 2x and square root of 2x, so all we have to do is add the numbers in front. So you get 10 square root of 2x. Here, it's a cube root of 7xy. They're the same thing, so you subtract 5 minus 1. Over here, they're not the same, so you can't simplify. If you can't make them the same, you can't simplify them. So we're going to try to make them the same down here, though. So these aren't the same yet, so we're going to make them the same. So I'm going to break this into 4 times 3, 25 times 3, and that's a square root of 3. So we have 2 square root of 3 plus 5 square root of 3 minus square root of 3. That's 7 minus 1 is 6 radical 3 would be your answer. So this I know is 5 times something, or else we want to be able to do this question. So I'm going to do 625 divided by 5, so it's 125. So the cube root of 125 is 5. And if you don't know that, you would do 3 with the little X button right there, 125. And your calculator tells you it's 5 right there. So it was 3 and then the X root right there. So 5 minus one of them, you get 4 cube root of 5. So this is going to be 125 times 2. So this has to be 2 times something, and this has to be 2 times something. So I know that's 8, and this is 27. But if I didn't know, I would divide it in the calculator. So cube root here is 5. Cube root here is 3. Cube root here is 2. So it's 8 minus 2 is 6. So it's 6 cube root of 2 for answer for number 3. All right, so when we're multiplying, we're still going to multiply like we normally do, but a square root times a square root, you just multiply the numbers on the outside, you multiply the numbers on the inside. So let's see what this looks like. So the 4 goes to the 5, and the 4 goes to the 4 radical 2. So I get 20 plus 16 radical 2, because you just multiply the outside numbers, and then that goes to each term. So I'm going to get a 10 square root of 2 plus 8 square root of 4. Multiply the outside numbers, multiply the inside numbers. These two are like each other, so it becomes 26 radical 2. And remember, if you do 8 times the square root of 4, you're going to get 16, because the square root of 4 is 2. So 8 times 2 is 16. So that last number should always come out as a perfect number. So that's 16 plus your 20, so you get 36. So then do it again. Multiply your 3 to both terms. So we get 15 plus 3 radical 7. And then multiply those to each term, and we get minus 5 radical 7 minus square root of 49. Combine these two. 15, and that's a 7. So 15 minus my 7 here is 8. So multiply this to each term. Multiply that to each term. You probably should try at some point to pause the video and try some of these on your own if you haven't yet. So these two are going to cancel out, and then 16 minus your 5, so you get 11. So this means to write it twice and to FOIL it out. So we get 36. So 12 square root of 3, and that's 13. 13 plus that gives me 49. So I get 15, multiply your outside numbers. Outside numbers and inside numbers. This makes negative 38 radical 7. And so this is 24 times 7, because it's a square of that number. So I have 15 plus that number. Okay. Down here, remember when we were trying to get rid of the i's, we were conjugating the bottom. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to rationalize it by conjugating it, which means I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 1 minus square root of 3. So I'm going to multiply at the bottom, so multiply at your top first. When you multiply at the bottom, remember every time we're going to get a plus and a minus. So we're going to get a minus square root of 3 and a positive square root of 3. So these should always cancel for us. And we're going to get 1 minus 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Remember I taught you should split these up. So we're going to get negative 2 plus 2 radical 3. So in this one, I'm going to do 2 plus square root of 3 on top and bottom. 2 plus, really that square root of 8 should have been simplified first, but so up here, FOIL out your top. I'm going to get 10 plus 5 radical 3 plus 2 radical 3 plus square root of 9. On bottom, remember everything's going to cancel except for this. So on top, I have 7 radical 3, and this becomes a 3, so that's 13. This will be 2 minus 3 is negative 1, so divide each of them by negative 1. It's a nice problem. So last one here, multiply outsides and insides, so I get 6. That's the outside noise. They're ridiculously loud. So that'd be 4 times 8. So we get 4 minus your 32. So on bottom I have negative 28. So on top I have 8 square root of 8. And that should be 2 times 8. And then we have add the other 6 to it. So we get 22. But really we should have simplified that square root of 8 to begin with to make it like really look like 16 radical 2 over negative 28. I should have put a square root of 8 in there. And then if you simplify it, you do your 28. So we get negative 11/14 plus 16 over 28, 4/7 radical 2.